Iris, you there?
She's not here yet.
Okay, then I'm here, yes. All right, then let's open up for public comment. Who do we have?
We just got.
What's the order in which they?
I'm admitting some people because they arrived late.
Okay.
And so. And for some reason, they're not admitting easily. Oh, gosh.
Sorry for the delay, guys.
Okay, it says
the computer seems a bit sticky.
And so we should also, okay, you should confirm at this point, again, continue the roll call and ask for Cynthia again.
Okay, Cynthia, we're opening the meeting. Say yes.
Then try Iris.
Iris, are you there? Look, we have a quorum.
Recording in progress.
Okay,
we have a quorum and we've done the roll call.
And you should ask Francesca if she's
Francesca?
here.
Oh, Francesca, are you there?
Yeah, hi, I'm here.
Okay.
Henry Klein?
And Henry Klein, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Excellent.
And confirm Iris, is Iris there?
Yes.
Okay.
And Cynthia?
Yes.
I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
Okay.
Okay. All right, then, fair enough. All right, let's see. I'll take you in the order which I have down here. Michael, do you want to open up with your public comment? Michael? Michael Klein?
Not here.
Not there. Okay. Erin? Erin, do you want to make public comment?
I do. Hi. Erin, hello. Erin McCarthy of Granby. I have a child in the school. I've spoken here many times before. To the point, well, anyway, I think first I just want to acknowledge that many of the conditions that have been placed on the board and the school are things that parents like myself have been asking for months. Including, actually, we have one parent who's been asking for a regional transportation plan with state reimbursements literally for years. I have been asking for better oversight and board governance since I started attending these meetings in September. And largely, though, actually, entirely those requests and feedback from me and other parents has been completely ignored and often treated with disdain. So it's interesting to see that the state is telling all of you to do the same things we've been asking you to do for months, to improve governance, to improve oversight, to follow open meeting law, to develop a regional transportation plan. So I guess my question for the board is, when will you actually start listening to parents? Because we come here because we believe in the mission of a dual language school and we want it to succeed. And that's why we're offering feedback. A school that is not transparent, that does not have accountability, that does not have proper governance is not going to succeed. So I'm very happy that the state has placed these conditions on the board and the school. And I hope it offers an opportunity for reflection about how you view and engage with parents here. And in the spirit of governance and transparency, I would also like to bring up one of the motions being discussed tonight. And this is a motion to authorize the executive director to develop a small building committee, including one or more representatives of the PVCICS Board of Trustees, to work with the PVCICS Educational Foundation to develop plans and proposals for construction projects. I really hope that the board looks at this very closely and has a thorough discussion. My concern is that we know nothing about the PVCICS Educational Foundation. In fact, one of the only records I can find about it lists its board. And the board consists of Kathleen Wang, the principal, Eric Alcorn, the son of Kathleen Wang and Richard Alcorn, Winifred McDonough, who I believe is the sister of Richard Alcorn, and a man named Mitch Tasman. So we will have Richard Alcorn, a Board of Trustee member, and then 3 other members of the Alcorn-Wang family determining the future of construction projects at this school. That seems like a significant conflict of interest. And I'll also note that there has been no opportunity for parent or community feedback on this construction. One of the criteria for the expansion required parent engagement. That continues to not happen. So I am confused how there are all these votes tonight about construction projects and authorizations, but you have not yet. There was one time last year that you asked parents what they want to see in this building, and that was an hour-long meeting where maybe 8 people showed up. That's not how you engage with parents. You send out surveys, you have multiple meetings, you have town hall meetings. That's how you engage and see. And what about our students? Why is there no input from them on what this building should look like? It should not be a handful of related people determining the future of this school. So this is the part of oversight that falls upon the board. This is what the state has told you you need to start doing.
So the timers, yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm wrapping up. So I encourage you to look very closely at this very full agenda tonight and don't automatically vote yes, which has been the tendency of this board in the past. And I will also repeat my requests that I've been told are exhausting, but I'm going to repeat them anyway, that I would ask the board to please send out an email notice to the community 2 days before so we can actually show up and engage, and to have individual emails for each board member, because I'm not getting responses from the chair and I have no way to reach committee members. So if the board is not going to respond to my emails, where is this engagement? Where is the oversight? Where is the governance?
Okay.
So next one, is Rachel there? Rachel?
Hi there.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, good evening.
We don't see you.
You don't need to see me. My camera, I'm not in a place where I really want to have a camera on. Thank you. But I'm a parent of 4 children who have attended or are still attending PVCICS. And I'm hoping there's some parents here that haven't been here before, that are here because they're interested in why the board is having state oversight about their governance. There's been a small group of parents who have been working on some of the issues that we've seen. We've been digging a little deeper and nothing has been reassuring. There's been a long history of problems with the board. Many of the people who have been on the board have been on the board multiple times over the time of the school's existence, and there's a lot of recycling of the same people, the same ideas, and I really don't hear a lot of concerns about the size of the school and whether we need to expand until it's brought up as this sort of propaganda of, everybody send a letter of support to Bessie. It's been frustrating. I imagined my 4 kids would learn Chinese here and that it was going to be a really amazing opportunity. And I'll tell you, over 7 years, it's it's like, I don't even know. It's broken my heart. It's made me furious. I can't believe, I honestly can't believe you guys are still running based on how your administration treats special needs kids. And I'm not going to get into it because I've got a lawyer and I've got like all the support I need there. But I do want you to know that the lawyer that works for your leaders, she's slimy. She makes things worse for the school. She's lied. She's had the school lie. She's had people change records. I mean,
Yes, look, I don't think you should characterize somebody as a liar, not in public like this.
oh, it's part of public record. They can look it up in a PRS report that was found that they were non-compliant. But I won't get into all the details of that. But what I do want to say is that I've never heard anything about the expansion from anybody but, up high. What I have heard is people concerned that their kids are growing up.
Time is up.
Close up on this one.
They're making friends that they have to leave in 6th grade, 7th grade, because the school isn't supporting all the learners. And it's frustrating. So that's my 3 minutes. I hope some other people will share some other things from their experience.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. I have Sherry. Are you there? Sherry, you have public comment? Okay.
Is there anybody else?
I don't see anything. Michael Klein, are you there at this point? Just a final call. Anybody else who has recorded for public comment and has
Sorry,
chooses to make it?
this is Liz, and I think that I did submit a request for public comment. Did I not?
I didn't see it, but look, go ahead. Go ahead with it.
Okay, yeah, I sent it to the board. So
That's fine.
hi, yeah, cool. So I have 4 kids.
Liz, can you do me a favor? Could you speak a little closer to your microphone?
I don't know. How's that? Better?
It's fine.
Okay. Go
I
ahead.
don't know. I'm driving because there's like a lot of things going on in my life.
Okay.
So long story short, I do second what Aaron is saying about the foundation. I do find it a little weird that Richard and Kathy's son was appointed, presumably by Kathy, and that Richard's, I think, sister is also on the foundation board, and they are in charge of the buildings that our school owns. And now when you ask the PVCICS board, who has oversight over all this money that is run by the foundation, which is kind of a family affair, that that Charles says he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't have any information, and our school board has no information or doesn't have any oversight. Yet today you're voting on getting all embroiled in the money, which seems a little weird to me. The second piece I have an ask, and I think Mike was at the principal conversation that I asked this to Kathy. So now that transportation is finally, after many years, on the table, and you guys have to develop a plan, will you include parents in that conversation? Because we would love to have a seat at the table to this conversation about how transportation looks and how to get the reimbursement. Because frankly, we've been putting our kids on the bus and paying the money for many years. So Kathy and Richard at the principal conversation said that they would not have anything to do with the transportation development, that would be the board that would do that. So I guess, board, I'm asking you, are you going to let parents have a seat at the table to also do a collaborative effort to figure out this transportation scheme? Finally, as the Fed co-chair, I think the board should be aware that we have requested to have a sit-down meeting with Kathy and Sulu to go through the surveys for special ed, and they have never responded to sit down for a meeting. So right now, Fed unfortunately is in kind of a weird situation because we're having parent meetings, but it's really hard to get the administration to come to the table. So I think that's it. I hope you guys are having a great night. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Liz. All right, I'll give Michael another call out if you're there. Michael Klein. All right, then I'm calling the public comment to an end. Right, we now move on to administrative items. The student representative policy. By the way, I'd like to welcome our student representatives. Francesca, you're there, I believe, and Henry, you're there. I'd like to welcome you to the board. Thank you.
And there'll be some training materials.
Oh yes, that's something that's important. It's extremely important that you attend the training program. It's an hour and a half. But if the situation is, if any of us don't, any board member that doesn't attend will have to leave the board. So it's really important that you do attend one of those sessions. If you have any questions on that, I believe you have a teacher who's involved with us, and or Richard or myself. We'll give you the information. Okay, fair enough. Well, thank you very much. Now we've got the student representative policy. The policy was transmitted to the board at the last meeting, and we need to open up the vote.
And I'll just summarize that this was submitted to the last meeting. It was a policy that was developed by Mike Blocker and reviewed by people. And so you've had a month or something to review it. And so we're hoping that you're ready to move forward with it.
Is that board members? Are you have you read the material and are you ready to move forward on this?
Yes.
Yes.
No no's.
Yes, but
Okay. All right then. Let's have a motion then.
As one of the people
policy. Sorry.
as one of the people who was involved in the effort to craft this policy, I would like to make a motion that the full board accept this policy as written.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay. Discussion. Any discussion? All right. Let's call for the vote then. Oh, a roll call. It has to be a roll call vote. All right then. Cynthia. It's a roll call vote.
Yes.
Anne.
Yes.
Shinpei.
Yes.
Gina.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Greg.
not here.
Okay. Frank.
Yeah.
Oh yes, you are. Okay. Iris.
Yes.
Okay. Do these students vote on this or not?
The students are non-voting.
Okay. Sorry, guys. All right then. It's unanimous. Thank you.
Can I
Right, the
actually
next-
ask a question? I know I'm not voting. I was just curious about something. But
Go on.
was this voting on the policy about reducing the number of student representatives to one, or am I mistaken?
Well, actually, it's always the practice has been for one. There was when I was there when these things were being written, and the intention was that that there would be an overlap. So the intention was only for one, but at any time. However, this will not affect you, Henry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, fair enough. All right, then let's see. The minutes. Do you have the dates on the minutes to be voted on?
Yes, we're voting on the January 30th open session meeting. The open session portion of the meeting.
Okay. They've been read. Let's see, I need a motion to vote. Do I have a motion to vote on the January meeting, the January open session meeting? Anybody?
I make a motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? I'm going to second it. All right, let's move on to discussion. Are there any changes, amendments that anybody wants to bring up? I hear none. Accordingly, let's move to the vote. Again, Cynthia.
Yes.
Okay, Anne.
Yes.
Shinpei.
Yes.
Gina.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Greg's not there. Frank.
Abstain, not present.
Okay, fine. And Iris.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Fine. Okay.
Sorry,
Open-
I made
sorry.
a mistake. I thought that was one that I was at. I was not there, so I will abstain. My apologies.
Okay, then it's still unanimous, but thank you. Thank you, Anne. All right, open meeting law. There's some training. It has to be done by, technically by March the 31st. However, the last training session is earlier than that. So do you have the date of the last training?
The last session is on the 18th, and I've set out the training dates a couple times, and basically everyone should register for the training. It's not very hard. It's basically a presentation. There's no quiz, there's no test. You just need to sit and listen for an hour and a half, and then you're have completed. After the training, you're supposed to get a certificate within 48 hours. I actually did the training, and they didn't send me a certificate within 48 hours, so I had to request it. But I expect we'll be gathering the certificates to provide to DESE to show that the training's been completed. And again, they're saying all board members, and so that includes full board members and student board members as well. So everyone needs to sign up. If there's any concerns about how to do it, please get back to me as soon as possible, and I'll do what I can to support you to get signed up and get through the training.
Yeah. It's important that we're kept informed as to the date you sign up. And when you get the certificate, if you could send a copy to the administration so they have a copy for their file, that would be good. Or even just a statement that you've done it would be good enough. There we are.
Question.
Yes.
I went through the training and they just sent me a short email said I attended training. I need to email them asking for a certificate?
No, just forward the email. I think
Okay.
that's sufficient. They didn't even send me an email, and so I emailed them. And they sent. I don't think they produced a certificate. I think they just send you an email, and that's it.
Okay. I'll forward you the email.
And I'll confirm that there's no certificate, but I suspect there is.
Okay.
I understand this is a critical thing. It's a requirement of DESE, so that we do this. So it's important everybody signs up and gets it done. Thank you. All right, then let's see. Charter amendment conditions.
Yeah, and the conditions basically. This is a process, and we're early in the process, and so we don't know all the details of how it to be implemented. But they have asked for 2 contacts to be, and they want 2 individual board member contacts to be to interface with them to discuss the conditions somehow. So
Yeah, Sharpay, would you read out these 2?
yeah,
these 2
well,
groups.
just the first 2 conditions.
Yeah, that's the first 2 conditions.
Yeah. So the first 2 conditions were comprehensive self-evaluation, and then the board training thing. And the second condition was again training conducted by an external consultant. And you were thinking that Shinpei could just. I think Shinpei said she was.
If Shinpei is willing to do it, and the board agrees, then that's what we should do. Shinpei?
Yes, I can.
And do we need a vote on that?
No, I don't
No.
think so. And do you want to take care of the
Okay,
transportation or something else?
on the transportation requirement, I'm willing to undertake that. Okay, so if that's agreed with the board, anybody objects to speak, and we'll discuss it. Otherwise, we'll go ahead with it.
Okay.
No, I hear nothing. Okay. Let's see. Thank you. All right. Right, next thing, committees and task force reports. Okay, Frank, could you have anything for the trusteeship committee?
I got nothing to report. I've been having some health issues, so I'm supposed to be back home month and put a meeting together. It's gonna have to wait till next month, April. We'll put
Okay,
something
thank you.
together for.
There won't be a problem, I
Yep.
don't think. Fine.
And
All right, then, Iris, do you have anything on the finance committee? I
Frank,
think you
real
did,
quick,
yes.
can I ask Frank a question?
Oh,
Did
yes.
you email I forwarded you?
I have not been checking email. I apologize.
Okay, I can resend it so it'll be fresh.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so, finance committee,
Oh, that's me?
yes, that's Iris, that's you.
Task force report. Task force report. So what do I supposed to report? We had a meeting, finance group had a meeting yesterday at same time. And actually, I thought that was covered by here. Yeah, well, we discussed the finance for the 300 Venture Ways HVAC, the expense for that, and actually Rich did a great job. We got a very good refund, and actually, and also.
Let me come in here. Richard, do you want to tell them about the air conditioning?
Well, we're gonna revisit all that in the executive director's
So that'll
update.
be fine.
Yeah,
so
I thought
when I did
that's
the-
in the following discussion, so I didn't
Yeah.
prepare for that. Sorry about that.
Okay, so I'm gonna, basically the meeting, yesterday was for the, finance committee to review the same material that's gonna be presented today. And so when I go through it then, I'll ask Iris to confirm that they supported what we're doing, but let's move on.
Okay.
Okay, fine, that's all right. Okay, Gina, the personnel committee, do you have anything for that?
We do, but looking at everything, I'm not sure that all of our documents were forwarded to the board. Maybe the other board members can confirm. So on the 28th of January, the personnel committee met to discuss Kathy's end of year review and her goals for this academic year. Did everyone receive those documents and supporting documents? Should we?
I don't.
Okay. So we have completed Kathy's evaluation, and all of those documents will need to be circulated to all of you for review, and we can discuss them at our next board meeting. So I'll make sure they go out for next month.
That's good. Thank you very much. All right. Let's see. We've moved on to principal's update. Are you ready, Kathy?
Absolutely. I do have a slide, just so I need to share, so Rich make me host. Hi, everybody. Happy
Hello.
March. Nice to see
Hi,
you.
Kathy.
Or-
How are you?
Yeah, nice to see you or see your icon. Okay. I'm gonna make this relatively quick because I know it's a lot on the agenda today. Share. Can people see this? Yes?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Yeah, just a little acknowledgement. I mean, whenever I do this, I think of that long period of COVID lockdown when we did this every day, all day. We've completed 116 school days. So we're headed into the final stretch. The third quarter ends April 2nd. For elementary kids, we don't really talk too much about the quarters.
certainly high school is well aware of it. And for the seniors, they are ready to graduate. We had our first lottery for fall 2025 this week. We had a historically large number of applicants. We expect to have letters mailed to them. And also we offer open houses to students who have slots. The open house is after school for people who receive the slot so they can better assess whether they want to accept the slot. Our normal entry grades are still K, 6th, and 9th, but this year what was unusual is we had a high number of backfill slots for 1st through 5th grade. So that's very positive news. And I say that because I know some districts are declining in enrollment. Part of that is the state of Massachusetts itself has been losing school-aged children, just a change in demographic, aging population. And also post-COVID, some people did decide to, work remote or move out of state. We are entering what I have referred to as testing season. It is on the school calendar, as it has been for years. We start PSAT testing next week, and then MCAS starts for grades 3 through 10. And I want to talk about 10th grade. It's no longer, because of the vote in the fall, it's no longer a high school graduation requirement. However, because it is still required for the seal of biliteracy, as well as 2 main scholarships to the state schools, the Abigail Adams Scholarship and the Copeland Scholarship. Essentially, all the schools I know are still offering 10th grade MCAS because they want the students, like we do. We have a very high percentage of students who need the MCAS English to qualify for the seal of biliteracy, which at UMass, you can get 12 credits. So there is money associated with it. So the MCAS season, you can look at the test, you can look at the calendar. It goes from March until the first week in June. And so again, grades 3 through 10 are affected. I didn't put it on this slide, but for those parents who've been here a while, we also do Chinese proficiency testing. So those are also slotted in, and we also do the International Baccalaureate testing. This said, we are adding some programmatic things, or at least trying to test them. We're partnering with the UMass Psychology Department, and we're offering 2 free parent workshops. The first one was actually this week on March 4th, and then this follow-up one is in April. They have 2 workshops related for parents specifically to talk about how to encourage positive behavior in students. They couldn't offer it hybrid, so it is in person in the library. They wanted to have it as interactive as possible. So we're testing that out to see how that works. And again, we had to shut down all these in-person activities, due to COVID, and we are gradually, every year we are doing more and more in-person activities. So I think that also helps, parents have a better sense of connection to the school and, this idea of communication. It's not just written form, but, coming into the building. And some long-term parents remember way back, we would, literally have standing room only in the gym for community time and things like that. So spring athletics, I send all this out to parents, but I did want to highlight that in addition to the ultimate and tennis and co-op teams in baseball and lacrosse, baseball and softball, we added co-op lacrosse. And we had gotten questions about this from some parents the last few years, so we do try to listen to parents. There was no host school that needed players. So the way co-op work is that you have to have a host who's willing to accept our players. So this year, Granby has said they they need players. I don't yet know how many of our students are going to partake in the co-ops. We also are starting 2 new recreational clubs. One is using the climbing wall, which I have talked about in the past. It's a vertical climbing wall, and that one we're excited to see it being used because it was a long process to get it. We had to get a state permit And the one person in the state who issues these things is absolutely swamped. The other new one is track and field. So we're gonna see how those do. For track and field, Mr. Brown, who also coaches cross country, is interested in potentially seeing how we could rent a track somewhere. So that'll be an interesting thing as well. And moving right along. So, oh, I have to go to the other screen. Hold on. We'll close out this year and start planning for the coming year. When I say lots to do, it doesn't fit on the slide. If someone would stay within 5 minutes. I mentioned this in one of my newsletters to parents because some parents had separately asked me. We are watching federal government changes. I use the word looming because, I've talked to other schools, they're just waiting. Funding is perhaps the biggest one. The state of Massachusetts, fun fact, the state of Massachusetts receives $2 billion in federal funding for education. That's $2 billion with a B, which this is then divided up or sent out to the districts. We are also looking at new regulations, things like Title IX, DEI. Immigration status was something that we heard about right in January about what to do. I think I mentioned at the last board meeting what to do if ICE shows up at your door or at the school door. The latest is just sort of, keeping tabs, but not, really panicking. What's going to happen to the U.S. Department of Education. So I'll keep you guys updated. I'm sure you guys also, follow some of this. I know parents are trying to follow it as well. In terms of planning for next year, I mentioned the lottery. We are enrolling for re-enrollment. That's if you have a slot here already, you don't have to enter a lottery. So, we'll do I have a Google form that I send out. I haven't done it yet, but I'll send it out to sort of just get some estimate numbers on, what our current family's plans are. I mentioned the new student open houses. The sibling number continues to be high. And then finally, site planning. I know there's a lot of things on the agenda. So, the three sort of space, staffing, and operations there's a lot of things that we'll be doing. So that's my last slide, and I'll turn it back over to Nick.
Okay, one thing you missed, and that's your middle school math team did very, very well, didn't they, in math count?
Yeah, I put that in a parent newsletter. So our middle school math counts team was third in the state. And then there's another separate smaller math competition, which is the Whitaker Bement Girls Math Competition. So it's specifically for students who identify as female, and they got first in the region. So, we do want to encourage not, a balance of activities for the students. So there's a lot going on. I mean, I can only fit so much into certainly this, but also even in the newsletters in school, because I am trying to cover 13 grades, not just, a portion of like an elementary school, middle, or high school. So
Kathy, your 5 minutes is up.
I know.
All right, let's see. We've got the executive director's update.
Okay, and this is material that was presented to the finance committee yesterday. Basically, I reviewed the cost and inputs into the HVAC units, and the net of it is we spent about $1.1 million buying 9 new HVAC units. They were dual fuel, combination gas and heat pump units, which are eligible for rebates. And so there was money spent on the 9 units. There was money spent to provide structural support to hold the additional weight of the units. And that was actually took some time to find some people who knew how to do it. And then there's additional money that was spent for train controls to control the units. And so again, the total cost for all the equipment was 1.1 million and some change. Then because of the rebates, we got a little less than $430,000 in rebates from Berkshire Gas. The tenant in the building that's keeping, the former owner that's keeping about 10,000 square feet, paid $125,000 to cover the cost of units for their portion of the building. And they also are spending $34,000 for their portion, or rebating us $34,000 for their portion of the controls. And so the total rebates and tenant share offsetting the cost of $1.1 million was $588,000. And so the final cost after the rebates and stuff for the equipment was about $521,000, $486. And the school put in $500,000 to cover the cost of the new units. And again, the units were basically, there hadn't been maintenance done on the building for many years. The HVAC stuff, many of the units were broken. We were concerned about winter weather, and also we were concerned about locking in the rebates because the rebate program that we're using was going to end in December. And so there was sort of a rush to do that. But we came out very advantageous. There's $500,000 put in by the school. And what we have is an amendment to the commercial lease to basically amortize that expense over 20 years, which is it's really just a accounting thing to sort of spread the cost over the 20 years of the lease. And so it's, instead of being $500,000 expense in 1 year, it's $25,000 each year. And so I presented the information and the amendment to the Finance Committee, and Iris can confirm that the Finance Committee voted to support making the amendment to the lease to have this cost amortized over 25 years. Can you confirm that, Iris?
Yes, and I want to emphasize that with the data 1.1 and little more than 1.1 million costs, and because all the rebate Richard was going to get, was more than half of that was rebated back. So the actual cost was a lot lower.
Okay, so I'm asking for the board to make a motion to accept the amendment of the lease to allow us to amortize the expense over 20 years.
Okay, do I have a proposal?
Motion.
A motion on the table. Who's going to make the motion for me?
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal that has that was approved by the Finance Committee. Is that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you. I need a
I'd like to
second.
emphasize that the Finance Committee did the work and has recommended to the full board acceptance of this.
I second it.
Thank you. All right then, discussion. I hear none. All right, let's move on to the vote then. Cynthia,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Shinpei,
Yes.
Gina,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Greg?
Greg's not here.
Not here, I'm sorry. All right, Frank,
Yes.
Iris,
Yes.
and I'll make it unanimous. Okay. Thank you.
The next is authorizations.
All right, I'm looking for. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Construction project authorizations. Do you want to?
Yeah. So
You want me to cover
no,
that?
I'll talk for a bit and then I'll ask you to.
Okay.
Okay. So the basically, because I don't do anything without the board's authorization, there are two motions that were created, and both of these were sent by the school attorney for review. So Kimberly Roche made some edits, but one of the motions is to authorize myself to submit a charter amendment to allow PVCICS to act as a guarantor with the PVCICS Educational Foundation for both the construction loan and the subsequent mortgage in an amount of $2.5 million. And I'll explain that if we go to our traditional lending source, the way it works is we we would get a traditional bank loan for a portion of for the construction loan, and then it will roll into a final mortgage. And so there's sort of a two-step process. And the way it has worked in the past is essentially all the construction costs get rolled into the final mortgage, including interest on the construction loan, engineering work, all kinds of stuff gets rolled into one big final loan. And I'm looking at the possibility, and again, all this depends upon how after the conversations with bankers and stuff like that, but it's possible that we can take an existing loan that we have and just roll that over into a longer term, lower interest rate, fixed rate loan. And so we could convert, basically using the same cost stream that we have today for a much smaller loan, we can convert a $500,000 loan into that's only for 5 years, into a roughly $2.3 million or $4 million loan over 40 years at a fixed rate. And so, but this is the first step. I need to get authorization to do this, to have the conversation with the banks. This would be sufficient funding to convert the second floor into, probably at least 14 classrooms anyway, and look at the first floor. And again, once this is authorized, we will have opportunities for staff and teachers and parents to give input into the process. But right now, we need to get it sort of started to even begin to look at it. And so that's one of the motions is, again, to authorize me to submit a charter amendment. The second one is to develop a small building committee to work in partnership with the Educational Foundation. And again, and the notion is that, okay, authorize the executive to develop a small building committee, including one or more representatives of the PBS board, to work with the PVCICS Educational Foundation to develop plans and proposals for one or more construction project with the oversight and approval of the PVCICS board. So the net of it is this gets it started. There may be some expenses associated with planning, but there won't be that much. And this will allow us to have a discussion, and we'll bring it back to the board for approval before we do anything. Okay.
Okay, so in bringing this to the vote, I need, there's quite a lot to vote on, so are we going to vote on them separately? Or
it's your call.
I think I'd rather do it separately.
Okay.
Okay. The project vote itself, can you just remind them exactly?
Okay, so the authorization is authorize the executive director to develop a small business building committee, including one or more representatives of the PVCICS Board of Trustees, to work with the PVCICS Educational Foundation to develop plans and proposals for one or more construction projects with the oversight and approval of the full PVCICS board. And this is as was really written by the school attorney at the end.
Okay, I need a motion, is to put the motion on the floor. Anybody?
I'll make a motion. I'm not sure how to word it though.
Thank you, Anne.
Yeah.
All right then. And a second.
I'll second, Gina.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Any discussion? Okay, fair enough.
Is there is there already someone who has expressed interest in being on this committee, or is that something that we're going to vote on in this session?
Who would like to be on the committee and the board? We can decide it now or decide it later. I'm flexible.
Tell you what, as part of the getting the vote done, let's leave it flexible, but I want board participation. All right then.
Perhaps, sorry, so perhaps we can, Rich, you might send around the time requirement and what's necessary for participation on that board, so we can have a good sense of what we're able to do, and then perhaps talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, just to know more about it, what it entails, what the time commitment is.
Basically, based on past experience, right, and it could change. There'll be an effort to build some preliminary proposals in terms of what the floor plan might look like. That will need to be, we'll have to have some stakeholder meetings and present it to parents and stuff like that and staff. But that doesn't, the board can be present of that or not be present of that. It's sort of an information gathering process. And the question becomes, how much involved you want to get is up to you. If you want to participate in all the sessions, it's going to be a fairly healthy chunk of time. If you basically want to review the final proposal, it's not as demanding, right? And so, and again, the level of involvement also may be, I mean, someone who's an architect by training may want to have a closer look at things than someone who's more of a layperson. But at some level, it's up to you to decide how involved you want to be with the process. But again, the expectation is that there'll be some work to get some architectural proposal. There'll be work to gather input from different groups that would have thoughts on what we should include, and I'll be working to sort of sort out different financing options, and so we can that'll be the topic of discussion as well about how to do it, and part of this is, again, once we start knowing what the costs are really going to look like, the scope of the project may change. And so the basic project is probably just to convert the second floor into something like 14 classrooms. But if there's sufficient funds, I know teachers would like to have 5 additional classrooms on the first floor. People would like to convert some of the space into a large cafeteria. And if it was a much larger project, which it potentially could be, but that's getting into a whole different level of financing. You could also, as sort of a second phase, you could look at converting the warehouse into a theater. There's a possibility of putting a gymnasium behind the warehouse. There's enough space to probably do that. And so, but that's not a $2.5 million project. That's much larger. And there's ways you can pursue that. But the ability to pursue that was in part dependent upon whether we got the additional headcount, which we seem to have gotten at this point, and also our ability to, the funding sources, whether there's funds available from traditional resources to do that or not. And so there's a lot of things that are in play that will get resolved over time. And basically we couldn't do any of this before now because to do the HVAC project, the rebate was really focused only on doing maintenance of the building. And so we've just completed the maintenance phase. And because that's all done, we can now move to look at doing construction. But we couldn't be doing renovation while we're doing the HVAC stuff because the rebate structure would be completely different. So,
okay. I do have any more discussion. Richard, do you have any time, some kind of a plan as to what happens next and the timing for that?
The next thing that has to happen is we have to go through a formal process for a designer selection process to be compliant with sort of state regulations. And so we have to sort of submit the plan, the proposal to a state board. They'll suggest some architects. We have the ability, I believe, to either accept their suggestions, to reject it and choose someone we want if we have some legitimate reason to want to do that. And then the next phase, for me, the thing is we want to move along and sort of come up with a plan. And you need to sort of we'll do a basic plan. We'll have to submit a rather thorough financing application, which is quite lengthy. And so, which will include a feasibility and that 5-year financial plan feasibility, and an architectural assessment, some kind of cost estimate in the thing. And so there's a whole lot of application material that we'll be working on concurrently with trying to sort of flesh out the plan. And so at the end of the day, we will want to get buy-in from the financing source, and we'll also be working to get bid documents done, which requires not just an architectural plan, but you have to have engineers go in and figure out where the electrical outlets are going to go and where the internet cables are going to go and all that kind of stuff. And so there's a whole engineering piece that you need to do. And that's sort of a partnership between the architect and the engineering person. So all those are sort of going on simultaneously. I can't say that there's a single pathway to get it done. You're sort of doing all of them at once.
Okay, are there any other comments? In that case, so you've read the words. We need to go to the vote. Cynthia? Cynthia?
Yes.
Okay, Anne?
Yes.
Shinpei?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Frank?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Iris?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, passes unanimously. We're now moving on to the second piece, which is staff participation, and we've got to
No,
vote on.
the second, we did the authorizing, the second piece is, I said it out, authorize the executive director to submit a charter amendment to allow the PVCICS, to act as a guarantor with the PVCICS Education Foundation. Do we do that? Do we do that one first, or do we do the
No.
authorized?
No, we did it. This is the second one you are doing. Yeah, that's the right order.
So
We did the project.
okay, so the second one is to authorize the building committee?
Yes.
Okay, so authorize the executive director to develop a small building committee, including one or more representatives of the PDS Board of Trustees, to work with the PDS Educational Foundation to develop plans and proposals for one or more construction projects with the oversight and approval of the full PVCICS Board of Trustees. And I'm a little confused. So I thought we just approved that, but I guess we didn't approve that one.
No, we did. That's what we just talked about. Yeah.
Okay, so now we need to go to the first one, which is to authorize the executive director to submit a charter amendment, okay, to allow PVCICS to act as a guarantor with the PVCICS Education Foundation on both a construction project and a loan subsequent to the mortgage in the amount of $2.5 million. And what this is about is basically the state wants the bank to know that if they lend the school money, they're lending it to the school and not to the state. And there's some verbiage that they require that says that the lender knows that if they're lending us money, that if the school fails, you can't go to the state of Massachusetts and ask to get the money back. And so, but to do the application, we both have to sort of, one, we have to say that we voted to authorize this. Two, we have to say that that the verbiage is going to be completed. And basically, I'm going to write the charter amendment and come back to you with the final charter amendment. And so this is sort of the first step to say, go ahead and start. But I'll come back with the charter amendment, which will describe what we're doing, describe that we're looking for a $2.5 million loan to do construction, give a 5-year financial analysis, and that gets sent off to the commissioner. And my sense is, I mean, that seems to be pretty much my experience is that they ought to say yes, because their principal focus is to make sure that the verbiage that states that you're that the bank knows that they're lending to the charter school rather than the state is clear. So, but this is to say I can go ahead and start doing the charter amendment.
All right. Let's see. Anybody who are going to
Make a motion, what he said,
what he says? Okay.
What was mailed out to the board, and that
to
again,
authorize the executive director to get authorization for a loan?
It's the verbiage that was emailed to you that was reviewed by Attorney Roach. Again, authorize the executive director to submit a charter amendment to allow PVCICS to act as a guarantor with the PVCICS Education Foundation on both the construction loan and the subsequent mortgage in an amount of $2.5 million.
Like I said, like he said.
Like you said. Do I have anybody else who's going to second that?
I second.
You'll do that. Okay. Well, that's it. We're now moved on to the discussion phase. Anybody? No discussion? Okay. Let's move on to the vote then. All right then. Unless there is discussion, is there any? I don't want to push this. Okay. Fair enough. Cynthia?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Shinpei?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Okay. Michael?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Iris?
Yes.
And I make it unanimous. Thank you. All right, let's see. The charter amendment. Okay, student recruitment update.
Okay.
Have I missed anything?
Well, the charter amendment up just said that we got the charter amendment but we have conditions, and so we've already discussed the conditions, so I think that's sufficient, unless people have any questions about it. And again, the growth plan is over many years, and so, but my expectation is that we will be authorized to have additional headcount in this next year. And there is one concern, which is, will the building be available at the start of the school year to support the students that we might admit? And so that's something we've sort of got to make a determination about how we're going to handle internally. That's an operations question that I'm talking to Kathy and Kevin Lawson about. Okay, but then moving on to student recruitment, we actually just completed the first lottery. Shortly before that, I sort of did a head count, which is not completely accurate because there's some duplicates, but I sent this out, and so there are 112 kindergarten applications. Again, we're planning to let in 44 students. And so we're oversubscribed. I'm sure that some of the students we admit won't attend, but at any rate, we've got plenty of applications for kindergarten. We have about 20 applications or more for each grade, 1st through 5th grade. Those are seats that only become available if somebody leaves the school. And so they're not principal entry points or backfill points that are required by law. Then starting in 6th grade, we have had roughly 45 applications. We would typically be expecting to admit, by plan, we would admit 20 students roughly into the 6th grade that wouldn't be RISE. The 5th grade has 44 students, 6th grade has 60 students. And so we would be admitting about 20 students, and it might be probably be a little more than that, just because we might have attrition coming from 5th grade. It depends. And then in 9th grade, we have 36 applications, and again, in the past, we've tended to have the size of the 6th grade that, just because of normal attrition, I think typical attrition from 8th to 9th grade in Massachusetts for all high schools is about 25%. And so you can expect to have the population of the current 8th grade to decline. And then we want to add additional students to make it get to 60 students, which traditionally we haven't been anywhere close to that in 8th grade. But it's going to get interesting because, Kathy, several people on the staff are concerned that we may have less attrition than the past because many people want to stay with the program. So we'll see how many of the 9th graders we admit. 9th grade is not as clear cut that we're going to admit 20 additional students, just because the middle school, at least we were targeting having 60 students there. And so you might expect it to roll over. But again, you're trying to second guess what the attrition is going to look like and things like that. So it gets sort of complicated. I'll say that the applications this year, I didn't check at the end, but they're running about 20% higher than the year before. So people are very interested in coming to the school. And again, I think that reflects the fact that we have very high academic results for all students, including high need students. If you look at the state accountability index, they clearly take a look at lower performing students as part of the metric for giving you your accountability index. And so the fact we're at 99% reflects the fact that the school's support for lower performing students, high need students, low income, special education students is higher than the surrounding communities. So we're doing a great job, and that's why people are applying to come to the school. And so it's nice that we're able to let more people come into the program. One of the great frustrations is, when you're doing the lottery and knowing that a lot of the people who are participating in the lottery are not going to be able to get a seat, and trying to explain, how they can try to navigate that. Maybe they don't get it this year, but they can apply and maybe get it in the future. So, okay, any questions?
I have a comment. It's Kathy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just as a reminder to the board, and I see parents in the audience. The funding formula for charter schools is sort of complicated, but I'm literally holding a memo that they issued in February. There, some of the sending communities in our region of service of which you know is as far north as Greenfield to Springfield. This memo from Desi is talking about the at cap or near cap communities, and so when a community is at cap, a charter school does not have to accept a student from that location because this is a funding issue. So they publish the districts in the region or across the state of Massachusetts that are at cap. So it's some of them are clearly not in our region of service in Eastern Mass, but the ones, for example, some of the smaller communities in our region, the rural districts, some of those are at cap. And again, this is a reflection also of declining overall school age children in the state. But there are also, I was interested to see that there are larger districts like Springfield, South Hadley, Sunderland that are approaching the cap. And so there's different rules related to that and enrollment. And, you know, I'm not going to go into more detail for time, but I wanted to bring that up so the board was aware that although we anticipate having a wait list and admitting students, this from a financial perspective is within the regulations because all charter schools need to be careful about not admitting students from at cap communities. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, we've got one more, maybe two items before we go to executive session. Executive Director's evaluation update.
And I'm behind in that in terms of I did create the evaluation form, but I haven't gathered the material. We've been sort of swamped with a lot of other things, and so I will make a point to get you all the evaluation materials for the next meeting. Okay.
All right. Do I have any new business? Anybody on the board?
I have a question about, under the heading of construction project authorizations, there was the project vote and then there was a charter amendment loan authorization. There was another item called staff participation and I didn't.
And that was me authorizing me to participate, to work with the foundation. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that was sort of, I had different terms for it, but we covered everything.
Okay.
I'm confused by that too. All right, so anyway, no more new business. In that case,
You need to read that first.
yes, I need to read this. Now, what do I have to close the?
No,
thing?
you read it first.
Read this
and then vote,
first,
and then we
okay.
close it.
All right, so we're going to have a vote to enter executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or any special law, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 22F, and G1, to review executive session minutes to determine whether such minutes are subject to release or exempt from public release, to invite Principal Yang, Executive Director Alcorn, and Attorney Roche to join the executive session. The board will not return to open session at the conclusion of the executive session and will adjourn therefrom. And I need to have a vote to exactly. So I need to close the. Do I close it?
No, we need to do
A vote to go first,
roll call vote,
and then
we adjourn.
Then we adjourn. Okay, then fair enough. Let's vote to go into executive session. Right? All right, Cynthia.
Yes.
Anne.
Yes.
Shinpei.
Yes.
Gina.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Iris.
Yes.
And me too. I vote yes. So we're going to do that. Now we do we vote to adjourn?
Yeah.
Sure, we can vote to adjourn.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks. Thanks for that nod, Cynthia. All right. So let's vote to adjourn the public session. Cynthia,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Jinpei,
Yes.
Gina,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Iris,
Yes.
and I vote also, Charles. All right then, we're now adjourned and we're entering the executive session.